Tom Hauser here with another midweek blessing. I was reading yesterday's G.P. Reed's passage from 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and it occurred to me as I read it that it may be a little bit difficult to figure out how to apply this passage from so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago to today, and also potentially sometimes dangerous when we take a passage written to another audience and try to apply it to ourselves. We can do some strange things. But in this case, I think there's a passage in particular, a verse in particular, that's very applicable. It's in 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and the verse is actually verse 14. It says this: "All the leaders of the priests and people became more unfaithful and committed the same horrible sins practiced by the nations." All the leaders of the priests and people became more unfaithful and committed the same horrible sins practiced by the nations. This is talking about the Israelite people when they were being infected, if you will, being affected at least by the nations they were living around, the nations they were hanging out with. It turns out that they were doing the same terrible things that the people they were hanging out with did. And God ended up judging them for that. He ended up wiping them out. Many were taken captive to Babylon for 70 years, just as the prophet Jeremiah had predicted. But all that to say this: so what? What do we do with that today? Well, if you look forward to the New Testament era, when we read the scriptures, we'll find, like in Romans chapter 12, it says that Paul says that we shouldn't conform to the customs and patterns and the behaviors of this world, but we should be transformed. We should be different kind of people. And here's another example from Colossians chapter 3. It says this: "So put to death whatever in your nature belongs to the earth: sexual immorality, impurity, shameful passion, evil desire, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these things the wrath of God is coming on the sons of disobedience. You also lived your lives in this way at one time, when you used to live among them. But now put off all such things, such as anger, rage, malice, slander, abusive language from your mouth." He goes on with some other things, but my point is the principle remains the same, whether we're looking at 2 Chronicles 36 or Colossians chapter 3. The message is there's a way to live as followers of God that is different, fundamentally, noticeably different than the way everyone else lives. And as Christians today, in 2021, we live in a culture that is not in any way formed by Christ, at least not in any substantive way. So the things our culture does are not the things that God would have people do. And yet, if we're not careful, we find ourselves doing the very things that everyone else around us is doing who does not claim Christ. And so my encouragement for you today, my challenge for you today is to offer a simple, humble prayer before God and asking Him to show you, to just gently but precisely show you which areas of your life look just like the areas of other people's lives that don't know Jesus. Whether it's an attitude of our heart, whether it's something we're watching, a media intake that we're watching, whether it's the way we speak or the situations we put ourselves in, our attitudes towards other people. That's my encouragement to you today. Pray that prayer before God. It's a dangerous prayer to pray. God, show me where I'm acting just like an unsaved world, and help me to change so that I'm different than that, so that I do life, I speak things, I behave in such a way, think in such a way, interact with people in such a way that's pleasing to you, God, and it's helpful to the people around me. That's a big challenge. It's a good prayer. It's a good thing to hang on to for today. I hope it's an encouragement to you. Till next time, peace, friends.